welcome to this new edition of Daily World News Bites. I'm Ajit, Chak, and sitting with me here is Korff. And we are going to discuss the latest news that is making ripples in the media and fueling speculation in the media. However, this news is not coming out much in newspapers. It's more in media gossip. This is the meeting between Indra Nooyi, the chief of Pepsi, and Prime Minister Modi. And this has led to a lot of speculation in the media as to what her real reasons for meeting Modi were. The speculation ranges from imposition of GST to taxes on cold drinks to half a dozen other political issues that are coming up. Maybe Indra Nooyi is seeking Modi's help or intervention in certain political issues that are cropping up, because it seems that in the southern states, especially in Tamil Nadu, Coca-Cola and Pepsi are facing problems regarding water drawing rights. Apart from that, there is a campaign going on saying that cold drinks like colas are leading to communicable disease and they should be banned. And in this kind of scenario, Coca-Cola and Pepsi have had a lot of problems in India for the last 10 to 15 years. Both companies contribute crores and crores in tax and central excise to the nation. There is no way you can underestimate the sales of the colas in a country like India, where we have a long hot summer and people drink cola just to get respite from the summer heat. So, of course, the packaging of colas has changed from big bottles to small bottles to party packs. So colas have also been marketed very aggressively in India. There are lots of issues regarding health implications. Now, Cal, what do you have to say about this? What exactly do you think is the reason why Indra Nooyi met Prime Minister Modi, and how do you think does this just have to do with taxation, or could it be linked to the fact that there are campaigns going on against colas? I mean, there's a campaign led by the Center for Science and Environment once in Delhi in the beginning of the 21st century, in around 2000 or so, or 2006 or so, or 2005 or so, where they actually did a campaign saying that colas had pesticides in them.
Yeah.
So, what exactly is your take on this?
I think it's logical that the head of the two big soft drink makers, Coca-Cola and Pepsi, would meet with Modi for assurances and to essentially get the pulse of the nation. It's one thing for a state and their leaders to feel one way. It's another thing entirely on a different scale, as you know, if a national government also feels the same way or has still other issues. This reminds me of some of the stuff that goes on in the West. In New York, for example, there is a sugar tax, okay? You have to pay ridiculous amounts of tax when you buy a soft drink. In other parts of America, they actually limit the number of soft drinks you can buy at one time. The idea is to cut back on obesity or take some money earned from the sale of these drinks to help treat obesity. In New York, for example, many years ago, there was a cigarette tax imposed, $5 a pack. So effectively, you were paying up to $10 for a single package of 20 cigarettes. The idea that most of that money would go to treat people who got lung cancer. So what you have going on in India is this really kind of predictable, but I think sad mixture of various claims. Some of them are absurd, like the idea that Coca-Cola or Pepsi spreads communicable diseases. It's not the fault of the soft drink, it's the fault of the people who don't practice hygiene. And I think before the leaders of any state in India should dare lecture the people or Pepsi on the fact that people may share a drink, they need to pick up the garbage first on the ground, and then they can claim the moral high ground, and they don't do that, of course. So the fact is, if I have a bottle of water and I drink it and I've got a cold and I say, here Ajit, have some water, and it's 40 degrees out, the water is going to spread more disease than a Pepsi will or a Coke, because most viruses, they all live on water. They don't necessarily automatically live on Pepsi. Yeah, there's sugars and all that other stuff in there which can help fuel microbes and things like that. But stagnant water is a huge problem in India. There's many times I've seen Indians where they keep a bottle of water that they fill up, and by Friday they're still drinking that because they let it sit and it got warm and it got steamy inside. So it's ridiculous. It's just an excuse, I think, to put pressure on and play politics and maybe squeeze the companies for maybe a political donation or something. So if you are Modi and I am the head of a company that wants to do business in India, and it's a huge company like PepsiCo, you're damn right I'm going to meet with you and have a one-on-one talk and just find out what the boundaries are. Based on the outcome of that meeting, I will then make a decision whether to alter what I'm doing or continue doing it, or maybe even pull out of India. You know, some people have said, for example, I've heard this, that, oh, Thumbs Up will then take over. Well, Thumbs Up is owned by Coca-Cola. So
But
Coke
that's
wins
another
either way.
thing. That's another thing. The thing is that I'm sure it must be having something to do with the new taxation regime that's going to come in from July, because I believe they're planning to implement GST from July.
Absolutely.
And Coca-Cola and Pepsi have such large sales, you know, that they pay something like thousands of crores
Yeah.
worth of tax.
Yes, yes.
So, if a company is paying that kind of central excise tax, they would obviously want to know how the change in the tax structure will benefit them or hurt them.
Yeah, they're claiming that.
And but Kel, here also, I am all for taxation to promote health. You know, and I was one of the people who actually advocated very strongly in my editorials as a journalist when I was in charge of a magazine in Delhi, that we must have a tax on tobacco products, and the money from that should be used very judiciously to provide health benefits to those who are victims of the use of tobacco. Now, similarly, I think it's a very good idea to have an obesity tax on anything that promotes obesity, whether it's chips,
Yeah, chips are a
or
good
it's
Colas,
fast
food.
or it's fast food.
Yeah.
So this is an excellent idea. In fact, I think the state of Kerala has already introduced an obesity tax.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but as you probably have observed, and this happens in the U.S. as well in other countries, they get this extra pool of money, and then the bureaucrats find another way to use it for something else.
But that's very wrong.
Yeah,
That's extremely
And
wrong.
I agree, it defeats the whole
And
purpose.
I agree with you that it defeats the purpose. And the problem here is that, you know, we also need to clean up our bureaucracy.
Yeah, this reminds me of the state lotteries in the U.S. The reason the lotteries were passed by voters is because the money was supposed to go to supplement education budgets. Instead, it's going everywhere else but that. Otherwise, American schools would be top in the world based on the amount of billions of dollars spent on lotteries. That's not happening. So, you have a piece.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Roger.